Good evening once again, everyone. On behalf of entire team at Knowlathon, I would like to welcome you all to today's webinar, which is AI Governance That Works, aligning ISO 42001 with business strategy. AI adoption is accelerating across industries, and but while organizations are moving quickly to implement the AI, many are still figuring out how to govern it responsibly. And today's session is designed to help you understand how ISO 42001 can provide a structured approach to AI governance while aligning it with the business objectives. Before we begin, I would also like to let you know that we'll be announcing a special opportunity exclusively for today's attendees towards the end of the webinar. So I encourage you to stay till the end. And for those who are joining us for the first time, uh, we let me introduce Knowlathon to you. Sir, can you click on the next slide? Yes. So Knowlathon started in 2018. It is an accredited IT training organization committed to helping professionals and enterprises build the practical skills through expert-led learning and globally recognized certifications. So we have trained or certified more than 40,000 learners till date. Then are more of the 80%, more than 80% are the repeat customer business. Then 100 plus trainings and certifications we do offer at Knowlathon. So next slide. With that, we have variety of accreditations from the all the expert or all the recognized, globally recognized bodies you can see on the screen. We are accredited by PeopleCert, PECB, PMI, CompTIA, BMEdu, and many more. So now, with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's session. So next slide. Yeah. So I'm delighted to have Mr. Chandar Subramanian sir with us today. He brings over 25 years of experience in enterprise IT governance, process excellence, and everything. So throughout his career, he has been helping organizations strengthen governance practices, improve operational excellence, and drive the business transformation. So today, Sir will share practical insights into AI governance, the role of ISO 42001, and how organizations can move from AI adoption to the responsible AI implementation. Thank you for joining us today, Sir. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Shraddha. Um, so it's an honor here to be here for this webinar. So though I have been associated with Knowlathon for many courses, many batches so far, I think it is the second webinar that I'm doing. And this one for 42001 is the one first time I'm doing. Last time also we did that in a different fashion. And now I hope that this is going to help you because the idea of this 42001, why do you want to have this one webinar is to just to let you know as an organization why we should go for ISO 42001. That's one main thing. More than that, in what way it is going to help the governance to get the things done, or in what way implementing ISO 42000 in an organization is going to be linked to the governance that you have. That is what is always going to be the focus, because what is the takeaway that is going to be there from the top management perspective. That is what we are going to see today. We are not going into details of what is there in 42001. Of course, we'll be just seeing what are the things that are there in the higher level. But actually, what we are going to see here is how that is going to help us in getting this thing done from the management perspective. Because at the operational level, we have been, so you would have done all many, you would have got some lot of information about how 42001 or this AI management system is going to help. But if you're always going to think from the governance perspective, what is expected and what is delivered from this one, that is what how we should be in a position to align with the business strategy. That is a main thing here, because you have a management system established, which is in fact there for every management system that is coming from ISO. Every management system that has got a focus on a particular area. Suppose we have QMS 9001, its focus is on quality, and 27001 focuses on information security. In the same way, you have 42001, where the focus is on AI management system. All those focuses are going to bring the business processes to do it in a better way, so that in a way, directly or indirectly, that is going to help to achieve the strategy of the organization. If that is not, we don't need a management system established. That's overall strategy that we have. That is the reason why most of the companies now they go for this one, the three-tier organizations are what is suggested by ISO also. You need to have the top layer, which is the strategical team, and the tactical team, which is a management layer. And on the bottom, you have the operation layer. All three layers are important because their focus is always going to be different for the same target what the organization wants to achieve. So now we are going to see that when you are having this AMS as implemented as part of your organization, how you should be in a position to align with the strategy of the organization, because that is what is that whatever we do as part of our organization, the only thing that we want to do that is how it is going to help the business processes. Unless the business processes are going to be improved, then you will not be in a position to get any benefit out of that. So in that way, how we should be in a position to align this AMS in sync with the business strategy, so that the output that you are going to deliver, the output that you are going, the benefit that we are going to get from implementing this 42001 is directly is going to help the business or the organizational business strategies. That is what is how to do that one and how to aim that one, and in way how it has to be implemented as part of our organization. That is what is going to be the focus here. Primarily, if you see that one, why we should go for AI management system. Primarily, if you see that normally when you talk about any project management or process management, we always see that it is a matter of two things. You have a plan and you are going to execute. But there are always going to be risks which are there. So we need to have a way to manage the risk. That's why risk management is essential in every management system that you have. Here also, it is the same thing, because of one of the main benefits why do you want to have 42001 implemented is how we are going to identify the risks that are specific to AI. So that is what here. So as long as you want to have this 42001 implemented AI adoption as to what are the key risks that we have as part of that. Because when I'm going to have AI implemented, because it is more of a manually, it is sometimes it is not possible to manage it on a day-to-day basis on every transaction specific one. How these things are going to create problem for the ethics that the organization is going to have. Primarily, if you see that one, these are the three things which are requirements that are coming from coming for every organization. Because whatever I do as part of organization, I need to ensure that the the activities are going to be unbiased, and whatever decisions that are going to be taken, that's going to be based on the fairness. So how this is going to be handled when AI is going to do something, because it is a decision making system. When a decision is going to be taken by AI, how do we ensure that the bias and fairness is going to be adopted there as part of that? There are a lot of risks that are going to be there if you are not going to have AI implemented in the right way. The second part is more important, because from the data perspective, since a lot of data is going to be used as part of AI, because there is a reason why we are going for AI. Volume of the data is the one that is pushing us to go for AI. In such cases, how as a system, AI is going to handle the data privacy and security requirement that every organization has to comply to, because there are compliance. That's what is the third one what we have, because we, as long as we have the data of individuals and data of other things also, so the confidentiality of the information that we have, which is what we call as a security related one, and the data privacy. So these are the two aspects that every organization has to focus on. And when AI is going to be managing your data, how to ensure this, because that is going to be a major risk that we have as part of that. And the third one is regulatory compliance. Since we are, as an organization, we will be having certain compliance because of because sometimes it is going to be voluntarily taken by the organization. Many times it is going to be the mandatory one that every organization has to go for. So in such cases, when AI operations are going to happen, how are you going to ensure that these things are there? What sort of risk that we have with respect to that? That's what is that the decisions that are going to be taken by AI, unfair and discriminatory outcomes, that these are the things which you want to avoid. So now, unless you have a right way of handling this AI, unless you have a right way of managing this on ongoing basis, we will not be in a position to meet this requirements or things that are coming as a mandatory one. So first thing, we need to know what are the risks that we have in our system. Because when you talk about managing, as I said, managing a plan is not going to be very difficult, because you have a plan, you are going to execute it. That's not a big thing. But what is going to be challenging for any manager, whether it is a process manager or a project manager, it is always going to be the risks that are involved in that. unless we know what are the risks that are there. That is, knowing the risk is the first thing. That is why the first slide is given here as what are the risks that are there if you are going to have AMS implemented in your organization, and what are the ways by which we should be in a position to know this, and then we should be in a position to monitor it, and then as and when it is going to occur, how we should be in a position to handle that, or when the risk is going to occur, you should be in a position to address that. Those are the things that are going to be there. Risk is there everywhere. We know that philosophically, by the time we are born with the risk of dying, but still we live. We enjoy our life till our death. So risks are there. There is nothing in this world without the risk. So we need to live with the risk, but still we need to ensure that whatever ethics and whatever things that we have considered as important, that we are not going to let it go just because of the risk. That is where is the main thing, that we need to know what are the risks that are there. So the first thing, what you want to just give an example, most of you should be knowing about what is the meaning of this one. When we talk about this bias and fairness, when the decisions are going to be taken, the decisions are to be taken based on the data. Because normally when you talk about taking a decision, if I'm going to take a decision, it is always going to be based on my experience. So now when an organization has to take a decision, it has to be based on the experience of the organization. So the experience of the organization is always going to be in the data what you are going to collect. So when a decision is going to be taken, are we taking it in the right day or not? So that is what is the thing. When you are making AI to take a decision based on the data that is there, based on the past data that is there, are we doing it in a unbiased way? So that is there a way that the logic that you have built as part of your AI is going to bias that? Or how are you going to ensure that any decision is going to be a fair one? So that is the main thing that we are talking about here. So where there are some examples that is given here, AI learns from the biased past data and shows the preference. So when the preference is going to be shown, capable of, so these are the things. So you can have that female candidates can be overlooked, reinforces. So all these things are going to be certain things that it has to contain, has that as part of that. And then you are going to, the decision what you are going to take should be meeting all the things that are there, and you are going to, your algorithm is going to ensure based on the data what you have, so that monitoring is also going to be there as part of that. And when the outcomes are going to be there, it has to be fair, so that no one will be in a position to say that an unbiased as a biased decision was taken. So that is the main thing that we are talking about. And the second one what we talk about was the data privacy. So wherever we talk about data privacy, as I was talking about, there is a subtle difference between the information security and the data privacy. When we talk about information security, it is always going to be revolving around the asset in which the data is going to be there. So it can be a logical one, or it can also be something where you are going to have a physical one. Suppose it is a server, which is in hardware, or it can be a schema, Oracle schema, which is going to be something where the data is going to be residing. So how we are going to secure that? So whenever we talk about data security, it is always going to be revolving around the asset. Whereas when we talk about data privacy, that will be always revolving around an individual, because every organization, irrespective of what domain or what industry you are in, they will be having some information that is of the individual. So normally when we talk about data privacy, we always say that wherever you have data of the individual, mostly we'll say that in HIM, like a hospital management system, where you have too much of that. But it is not necessary that only those applications will be eligible to be part of a data privacy or something. Even a normal organization where you have part of that, you have some employees, and employee details are going to be part of that. There also data privacy is expected, because as an individual, I gave a lot of information to my organization, and the organization is going to hold that data for very many purposes. And the purposes that are told to me, that this is a purpose for which it is there. For example, organization has my account number, bank detail, and other things. So I gave that with the thing that they know that they are going to use only for certain purposes when they want to send salary or something. That is a limited purpose. So I know that for what purpose this information is going to be used. So I give a consent. This is what is there as part of the data privacy. Data privacy is always going to be related to the individual, and the organization is supposed to use the data only by getting the right consent from the individuals. So that is how we are going to ensure that one. Because implementing information security is relatively easier when you talk about implementing data privacy, because implementation of information security is done on the entire thing. When I'm going to do that one, I'm going to do it for the entire schema or entire database or entire table or something, right?
Chandra sir, sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you. There is a one person who is saying, can we take it a bit slower. Maybe they are
Okay.
not
Yeah.
able to
Okay.
grasp.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
missed it. Is it, could see the chat here.
Yes.
Was it in the chat?
Yeah,
No,
in the
I think.
Q&A he has mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what we are talking here is how we should be in a position to handle the data privacy and data security when you are going to have a AI management system implemented as part of that. Because it is how you are making the application to do on behalf of you. Because the volume of the data is going to be huge. So you let that to do. In such cases, how do you ensure that the same level of information security and same level of data privacy is going to be engaged, is going to be addressed by the AMS? That is what is a major thing risk that we have in the AMS, because the data what it is going to use, mostly it is going to be using the data privacy related one. So we need to see that one. So what are the things that's why we consider this as a second level risk that we have. So is it going to be some data breach or leakage, identity theft? These are the higher level what we think about. There are something which are going to happen every day. So my telephone number is being circulated to everyone as part of some by mistake, by part of a memo or part of a mail. So that itself is a breach what we talk about at the lower level, because I have not given my consent and how that has been done. So if that is what is going to be a mistake that is done by an AI, how we should be in a position to identify first, and then how we will be in a position to stop it, which is a corrective action, and in future how can we avoid it, which is a preventive action. Those are the things that we'll have to look for as part of that. The third one, what we talk about is a regulatory compliance, which most of you should be knowing. One of the very common thing that we have on the compliance with respect to privacy is we have GDPR. So any organization that is going to be part of EU, European Union, or any organization which is there anywhere in the world, which is going to do some business with any of the organizations that are there in the European Union, they should comply to this GDPR. So, which is a requirement, which is a mandatory requirement, legal requirement. So, in such cases, when the data is going to be handled, in such cases, what are the do's and don'ts? That is what is prescribed as part of a act, the GDPR Act, and we need to comply to that. So there are multiple compliances that are there. So depending on which data, what type of data that you are going to do. If you are going to be in the US, so we talk about there are certain specific cases that are HIPAA. HIPAA is one such rule which is specific to healthcare. Even in India, we have a privacy side. So there are every country, almost every country, right from Saudi, every country you name it, they have their own privacy laws, and we need to comply to that one. So the question that it is going to be there, when you have a portal and that portal is going to be accessible from anywhere in the world, then you need to ensure that which are the countries where you need to comply to, irrespective of where you are operating. So if you are letting a person from Saudi to use that one, you need to ensure the data, or we should be complying to Saudi. So that is where you are going to focus on that, which is going to be a huge one when you talk about compliance. Not only the privacy data perspective, there are other compliance. As I said, for every like there are when we talk about compliance, there are different types of compliances that we have. Always we talk about the regulatory compliance. There is a legal compliance and a regulatory compliance. Legal compliance is what the government wants us to follow. That is a legal. So if you are not going to follow, you cannot run an organization. Whereas when you talk about a regulatory compliance, sometimes it is going to be voluntarily taken by the organization, because I want to implement ISMS 27,001 or 42,001 in my organization. That is a choice for the organization, because it is not forced. When that is the case, the way that I'm going to implement AIMS in an organization, that is going to regulate the way the processes are going to be handled in AIMS in my organization. That is why it is a regulatory compliance. It regulates how my activities are to be. It regulates how the data has to be captured, how the data has to be managed. So that is why we call that as a regulatory compliance. And also we have other things like you have contractual things also, where we are agreeing with the customer that these are the things that we are, and contractually we are bound to that one. So wherever we talk about compliance, it is not only the regulatory, there are four different compliances that we have, but regulatory compliance is one which we need to abide by. So we are always going to look for that and then see that as a model when we are going to build a management system in our organization. In every process that we are going to do, whether we are going to create the data internally, or you are going to process the data internally, or when you are going to share the data, whatever that you do as part of the AI thing that you do, then when they are going to do that one, how we are going to ensure that the required compliance is always going to be met. So that is one thing. If you are not going to meet that one, that itself is going to be a major one, because the problem here is volume of data. That is what is going to be there in this one. And again, everything is going to happen at the behind the scenes. And most of the time, unless we probe into that, we will never even know that there are certain things that are being violated. So the violation itself will not be seen if you are not going to have a right way of monitoring the system. That is what is the biggest problem that we'll be having as part of our regulatory compliance, which is a huge risk that we have. And that is why I've given here that these are the major three risks that we have as part of that. And when we are going for AIMS implemented, we want to ensure that our AI management system is going to take care of that. And you are going to have a way to address these risks as part of that, which is going to be the challenging task, but that is a way that you will have to handle. Otherwise, the purpose of having AIMS is going to be defeated. So you are going to get, it's not going to be successful. It is going to be defeated. Okay. Now, what is there as part of ISO 42001? So we talk about, so this actually for the last 10 years, if you have seen that one, like about around 12, 13 years earlier, well, almost like 10 years, every organization was talking about ISMS, Information Security Management System. Then it came along with Privacy Data Management System, which was a talk. And across the organization, across the globe, you can see that everyone they went for implementing ISO 27001, because that is that almost like it is a standard there, that every organization where they use data as part of that organization, they need to go for that, because they need to have information security built as part of their business processes. Now, recently, when this AI started emerging, then there was a need that we need to go for a way to manage it better, so that the risk that we have already seen should not be one that has to be part of that, because we want to leverage this AI as part of our business processes, but at the same time, not at the cost of the risk that we have seen there. So now what is offered as part of the AI management system? So why do we want to have that one? That is what this slide gives about that. When, as I said, every management system will be having these three tiers. These are the three tiers that we have. The top level is a governance one, management one, and the operation one. Governance team will be always, that is a strategic team. They will be looking for what is good for the organization in a long term. Normally, governance team is always related to the long term. You have long-term achievements or long-term goals, and management will be always attached to short-term goals, and the operation one is going to be attached to the day-to-day activities that are there and related goals. That's how the entire operations are going to be spread between these three equally. When we say that who is important, it is not the question of who is important. All are important in their own way. Because when we talk about a long-term perspective, what do you want to be after 5 years or 7 years? That is a strategy that you are going to build. That's why this is called strategy. So strategic team, tactical team, and this is operation team, what we have. So here it is going to decide why we need this and what is needed to get this implemented, and how we are going to do that. That is what is the management, which is the middle layer, and doing it actually at the operation, which is going to be done at the last layer. But for each of them, with the same management system that is going to be implemented, they have different targets, because the governance team will always be looking for something, how this by having a AI management system implemented in an organization, how the strategies are going to be successful. Whereas the management team will be always focusing on the ongoing things, how they are going to meet their annual plans. Whereas the operation is always going for looking at how this implementing 42001 is going to help them to meet their day-to-day operations that are there. That's why we have the essential controls are also going to be different here, because this is how it is. The governance team is the one which is always going to be holding the responsibility. The accountability of having AI management system implemented is always going to be with the governance team, whereas the responsibility is going to be pushed on, and some of the responsibilities are going to be pushed on, because accountable, they are only, governance team is the one which is always going to be responsible, and they are going to be owners of getting this AI management system implemented. That is how we always say that why it is important, because this is how the strategy is going to be related to that one. And unless the strategy is related to that one, you will not get that from the top management, because we want that. So when you want implementation of 42,001 to be successful, that is going to be possible only when there is going to be a commitment from the governance team. And that is how it is going to be possible only when there is going to be or the way that 42,001 is implemented. So that implementation is going to directly or indirectly help the strategy to get improved. So that is the one that thing what we are going to look for that, and which is the title that what we have for today's webinar. So how this is going to be there. Now you can see that there are certain things which are mentioned there. So setting the vision, policy, and strategic objectives are all going to be with the governance, because as I said, they have a longer vision, because at the top level, they have a higher visibility for 6 years or 7 years, what they want to, where they want to be, where the organization will grow. Based on that vision, they should be in a position to better judge what is needed for the organization. So you are going to set a vision for AI, how AI is going to be used for our organization. First of all, do we need AI? That itself is a decision. When we need, then what for we can make use of it. It can be used in either way, in whichever way you want, but what for you want to use the AI, naturally, they will like the AI to be used to achieve the organizational visions and goals. And that is what is the strategy, what we have. So that is why the strategy, the objective, the strategic objectives of the organization is always going to be aligned. That is 42,001 should be aligned to the strategic objectives that are there. And then this is for the management team, they are going to manage it on an ongoing basis, because they are going to be directed by the policy and process that are going to be defined by the top management. And they are going to ensure that every process is going to be done as per that one. And compliance is always going to be the major thing as part of the management. Whereas for the operation, they are going to always do day-to-day activities. So they are going to follow the procedures and processes that are set towards them, and then that is how they are going to do that. Now, if you see that one, at every level, they are going to get the benefit. And this benefit, what we talk about, suppose we say sustainable value creation. Now, this is a benefit. That benefit is not going to be meaningful at the operation layer. Sustainability is always going to be how you are ensuring your profit for a long term. So that is sustainability. Not only we talk about profit, whenever we talk about profit, always we say that not at the cost of the people or planet. All three will, profit, planet, and the people, all three will come together. Then only we will be in a position to define the sustainability. Now, how your business is going to be sustainable? To make your business sustainable, how AI is going to help you. And that is what is going to be focused on the governance. And then it is going to be implemented by the management team, and it is going to be operated by this team. That's how we have that. Clearly, there is going to be a different set of responsibilities that are going to be defined here, which is what is the big value addition that you are going to get if you are going to implement AI management system, because we know that what are the responsibilities that are there at every level. That the three tiers what we talk about, what are the clear benefits that are going to be there, meeting the requirements of the unique requirements of each of these three tiers, and then how they should be in a position to control. Because why do they want to control? Because these are the key benefits that they are looking for, and these are the responsibilities that they have. Now, to ensure that they are going to get the benefit, they need to control that. The processes they are going to be defining. So controls are essential. So they will be controlling at a different level, and each of this team will be controlling at a different level. So as I said, though we say that these three teams are going to be focusing on a different way, altogether they are going to focus AI management system as a single one, and AI management system is always going to be there, which has to be part of our business process. Because any management system that you are going to have in an organization is going to be meaningful only when you are going to ensure that it is going to meet the strategic requirement of the organization. That's how it is going to be. That's why we talk about it. Now, how poor governance is going to impact the business. So the reputation will go down, cost will be higher, and the trust will go down. So why it is happening? When we have a AI management, because when the decisions are going to be taken, if we say that even if we say that 30% of the decisions are going to be taken by AI applications, when the AI applications are not going to be doing in an unbiased way, then the reputation is going to be go down, and then the trust will go down. And to correct that, you are going to spend a lot. And these are the big impact that the government, the governance is going to have because of that, because it is all related to the stability of the organization, the reputation of the organization, and the cost that they'll have to give for that one. So unless we have a right way of governing this AIMS, you will not be in a position to control these three, which are important for any organization to survive. Okay, now how to move that, how to scale our AI, because you say AI is going to be an application specific, because it is not going to be something which is going to be just like that given to everything. It's not just going to be a process what you are talking about. Process is one thing, but when you want to implement as part of that, it has to be implemented across all the applications where AI is going to be part of that. Now, in today's scenario, AI is used in every walk of life. Even within the organization, almost every function of the office should be in a position to use AI. If that is the case, how you are going to have a centralized way of implementing AI. That is what is the main thing what we are talking about. It's not that people from a different department and function, they are going to identify something and then they are going to implement for how to use AI. But you need to have an enterprise scale AI, which means at the centralized way of implementing the thing so that it is going to be common across the organization, irrespective, we have different locations and different functions. So one of the things is, so that is what is there. If you want to experiment it, you are always going to start from one function, one location or something. It's isolated piloting. You are going to start with that one. Here, we may not be in a position to exactly know how the value is going to be there generating, because when you are going to implement AI management system, it has to generate some return on investment that you are going to have. But if you are going to do only partially, you will not be in a position to get that one. Approaches are going to be ad hoc. All these things are going to be here if we are going to do it in an isolated way. But if you are going to scale it at the enterprise level, you are going to, the thought process is going to be centralized, and the way that you are going to have is going to be uniform. And then it is always going to be the way that you should be, any improvement that you want to bring in as part of the organization, that can be done in one stroke. Whereas if it is going to be isolated like that, so whenever we are going to implement any management system, especially when you talk about AI, we need to ensure that it is going to be across the organization, irrespective of the projects or irrespective of the application that you are going to use. So that is a way that when you are going to do that one, it is going to help us. So always go for a governed, scalable, and sustainable methodology that is going to be used for that one. That's what we are always looking for, not a pilot. Pilot is needed only when you want to try it for the first time, but you cannot continue with only having AI in one or two places. Now, what is there as part of that? What is suggested as part of 42001? 42001 is a standard, as we have already seen ISO, where they have published a lot of standards, thousands of standards for anything that you want to have. In every domain or industry specific standards are available. In the same way for for AI, they have come out with 42000 family. In that one, we have ISO 42001 as a standard. It talks about how to have a internal team built for implementing AI. So whenever we talk about having a management system established, we are going to have a team. The team is always going to be reporting to the still the governance team is going to be the one who will be. So this is a management system. The AI management system is always going to be the accountable only from the governance team is going to be accountable for that one. And you are always going to use this PDCA model because we want continual improvement that is going to happen as part of implementing 42001. So when you start doing it, when you are implementing it, it is not that what you are going to implement today is going to be there forever. So based on the environmental changes that are going to happen, we constantly change our process to meet that expectation, so that our the way that the process is implemented, the management system is always going to be meaningful to the current system or the current requirement that is there. So that is how we are going to make our thing continually suitable. To ensure the continual suitability, you are always using this PDCA life cycle there. And because of this, you are going to get a lot of benefits that are listed here. So building a trust, that is what is the main thing, because you are going to ensure that compliance is always going to be there, and the AI risks are going to be identified, and you are going to always prevent that in a proactive basis. That is the main thing. It is not that it is a reactive one. You are always going to see that in proactive way, and then you see that how we can protect them so that you are not letting it to happen. Compliance, governance, and enhancing that one. Operational efficiency is also going to improve because of that, because you are going to have measures. Based on the measures, you should be in a position to control it. And that is what is going to bring the innovation built across every function where we are going to implement AI, and thereby the confidence is also going to be improved. So there are a lot of benefits that we are going to have by having 42001, because efficiency is also one thing, especially when we talk about handling the data, volume of data. AI models are going to be easy for us to do, and then transaction based one, then we don't have to do manually. These are the things that are going to be helping us to do that one. What are considered as a core principles of ISO 42001? We talk about the accountability. That is, their accountability is always going to be at every level. So when you talk about implementation of 42001, the accountability is always going to be with the governance team. And then at the lower level, for every asset that we have, for every application that we have, that is going to be accountable for that one. And the individuals are going to be made accountable for that one. And only when you make accountable someone, they are going to be always looking for the nothing when the risk is going to happen or about to occur, they should be in a position to have that. Bringing accountability across the organization is what is a major principle that we have. Managing the risk. So why do we want people to be alert? Because they always look for risks that are there. So knowing the risk is the first thing. And then preparing to meet that one is the second thing, which means I'll be having certain control measures. So as and when the risks are going to occur or just it is going to occur, I'm going to apply this control measure and see that how I can minimize the possibility of that is going to occur. If that is not possible, at least when it is going to occur, I should be in a position to minimize the impact that it is going to cause. Those are the things that are going to be part of the risk management. And everything that I'm going to do is going to be transparent. And then I should be in a position to explain it why I have taken a decision, because it is always going to be based on the data. Because the decisions are always going to be based on the data that we have. So any action that is going to be there is going to be explainable. Even if I'm going to make a system to make a decision, that decisions are always going to be based on certain evidence, and that evidence is going to be made available. So later on, when you are going to do some problem solving, when you're going back and then do for root cause analysis or something, still you should be in a position to explain that at that particular situation, why that decision was taken. So that is how it is becoming transparent, so that the decision that you have taken is always going to be having some reason for that. And that is what is going to help us to get the things done. Then the components, what are the things that are going to be part of that major component that we talk about? We all know the framework is important, because that's why the governance framework is what we want. Because here, unless you have a governance there, the visibility for a long-term requirement of AI is going to be lost. That is why, as I said, the 3 tiers are there only to bring that one. Long-term visibility is always going to be from the governance one, and always that is a way that anything that you're going to contribute at the lower level is always going to add value to the vision of the organization, which is what we want. Otherwise, we don't want to. Every employee, when they are going to do something, directly or indirectly, it has to add value to the vision of the organization. If that is not adding, that means they are not doing the right job. It is not, maybe they are not doing what they want to do. That is not the problem with the employees, but how we are making them to do. Unless you link that, unless you connect the activities of employees to the vision, then that is going to be possible only when you are going to have a governance framework. So there should be a commitment from the top level. Policies, objectives are to be defined. These objectives are the one which are going to be pushed down as employee KRAs and KPIs. When this model, this pyramid has been established, then only you will be having a control at every level. And especially when we talk about whether the strategy is being met by the activities that are going to happen at the lower level of the pyramid. And that is where these tiers are going to be there. That's a governance framework, what we talk about. Life cycle controls. So during the life cycle of the data or application, when we are going to build that one, we always see that what are the elements that are going to be there, how to design. So it has to be there across the life cycle that is going to be used in any organization. It is not applicable only for IT companies alone. ISO 42000 can be applied in any organization where they use application for their domain. So if that is the case, their life cycle, product life cycle is going to be linked with the data, and that data is linked with the AI, then ISO 42001 is meaningful for that. And continuous monitoring and improvement, which is a continual improvement. That is what we are talking about. Because wherever we want to have a system established, that system should be continually suitable for the purpose for which it is designed. If it is not continually suitable, then you are missing that. Now, how to make it continually suitable? By knowing the changes that are happening as part of the environment and adopting our system to meet that one. That is how we are going to make your system always meaningful to the changes that are happening. That is how your system is always going to be meaningful and useful. And that is what we are talking about, continual suitability. That is going to be possible only when you monitor and keep improving that one. These two go hand in hand. That's how it is going to be possible. Now, the 42,000, when we talk about 42,001, it is always going to be, as we said, all these management systems are actually working on the business processes. So when I talk about 27,001 or 27,701 or 42,001, there are three different management systems that we have. Like that, you have many management system. All this management system, the processes that you are going to define, they are going to be defined on the business processes that you have. So when you are going to say that the focus is going to be different, that is the only thing. Here we focus only on managing the AI systems. Here we are going to focus on information security. Here the focus is going to be on data privacy. And when you say 9001 for each of that, there is a focus that is there. But all of them are going to be integrated into the business processes. If we are not in a position to integrate, if we say that I'm having a parallel system running for 42,001, it is not going to be successful. Unless you integrate the things, it is not going to be successful. You cannot have a parallel system. When you talk about 42,001, it is tightly integrated into the business processes. Only from the top level, you are going to focus in that perspective and see that whether you are meeting the expectation with respect to 42,001 here, the expectation respect to 27,001 here. So for everything, there is an expectation. Overall business also has got some expectation, but each of them is going to be different. That is how, though we say that they are all a different management system, the focus is same. The way that it's implemented is also going to be same. Okay. Now, when we talk about the AI management system, we did talk about that the governance is the one that is there, life cycle control that we are looking for always, because throughout the product life cycle or a service life cycle, you should ensure that wherever your AI is going to be used as part of that, we ensure that we are going to be taking care of that, managing the risk, and how we are going to go for a continual improvement, monitoring and improving. So these are the things. When you are going to focus on these things, you should be getting the outcomes that are there. Strategically, it is going to be aligned. That is how we are going to ensure that you are always monitoring, see that whether strategically it is aligned or not. It is going to improve the trust and confidence of the customers. Value is going to be created. Compliance and resilience will be there. And what are the things that we need to have here? Unless we have a vision, these things are not going to happen. Because we talk about that vision has to come from the top level. And when it is going to be executed, it is going to be done at the middle level. And when it is going to be operated, that is going to be at the least level. So all these three are important here. Then only as a system, our management system is going to be there. But when we talk about the business strategy, the vision and objectives are the one which is going to ensure that what outcome that you want to achieve. So unless at that level, if you are going to do, unless the way that you are going to define the system to meet this strategy, you will not be getting these outcomes. So it is something like when I want to define something, I see that how I'm going to connect this to the vision. Then only I will be in a position to see that whether it is aligned to and whether I'm getting the vision established or not. So it is always, while definition itself, I need to ensure that I'm going to be having these strategies as part of that. So that's why it is always going to be more that how you are going to see from the top angle and see that how it is going to helping us to build the strategy as part of that. Now, AI governance is how you are going to govern the AI management system as such. So what are the business goals? Now, if you look at this one, we are not talking about what is needed at the lower level or operational level. We are talking about at the top level. That is at the governance level, you need to have certain goals established. The goals are going to be very generic. They are not going to be specific to the application where AI is built or anything like that. It is going to be specific at the strategy level. So it is going to say that how it is going to help the growth and the innovation. That is what is there, or improve the customer value and experience. So these are the business goals that we are going to set, which are strategic goals, which are not specific to any technology, neither it is going to be specific to the application where AI is going to be implemented. You are going to see that how the strategy, what goals that you have, and how you can make AI to achieve that one. That is what we do then. This is what you want, how you achieve, and what you have achieved. That is how we are going to see these are risks that are there, what risks that I can take. So when you have a better risk management system, your appetite is always going to be, you should be in a position to increase that so that you should be in a position to convert that into a success also. But you can have an appetite, but you cannot work on it unless you have a system which is going to be meeting that one. So you always see that how we are going to do that. So when we talk about a governance, we talk about what are the business goals that you have with respect to AI and digital transformation roadmaps to how it is implemented within the organization in every function that you have, and what level of the appetite that you have. Risk appetite is the capability of taking the risk so that you should be doing business, because business is nothing but managing the risk, taking the risk, right? Business itself is a risk. So if that is the case, when I have a better system, I have a best system there, then I should be in a position to have high level of appetite so that I should be in a position to go for a bigger success. That is what we are talking about here. Okay. So the how it is going to be linked to the life cycle, that is what is given here. You should be in a position to implement it across these are the phases that we have. So everywhere governance has to be focusing on their goals that they have set, because these goals are going to be possible only when in every phase they are going to be met. You are going to ensure that, and then wherever decisions are going to be taken, how the decisions are going to be, where this AI is going to be using that one, there also you are going to focus. This is where you are going to bring the governance as part of that, and the ethics that is going to be followed, the governance level is going to be applied here, so that the decisions that are automated, they're also going to be in sync with how normally manually we are going to do that one. Then the ownership is always going to be a cross-functional one, because AI, though we say that it is going to be done by programmers and developers, it is not that they know everything. We need SMEs in that area. So we will be looking for SMEs in different areas, and those people are going to give the inputs. And so especially when we talk about legal for compliance related one, the business teams, where they actually see from the business perspective how it is going to be implemented, how we are going to manage the risk and the compliance part of it. All are going to be there. So when we talk about ownership, it is not going to be a one-man show here. It has to be, because everyone here is a stakeholder, and they should be in a position to help us right from the design, right from the all these phases, right? When you talk about ideate, when you are going to come out of the concept, there itself, they are going to be there and then do that one. So when we talk about compliance, because we talk about a compliance when you have a governance done, how it is going to be there. Always we see that what is important. Is it policy or a practice? Focus on document policies, not real world outcomes. So that is the thing. So you're always going to see that one. What is important? Is it a policy or a practice? So policy is always going to overrule sometimes the practice. If you are going to follow, it may ask us to do in a different way. Overall, you are going to see that what is the policy. Policy is to ensure that data privacy has to be managed. So now the practice may be, because of some reason, it may be saying it in a different way, but you are going to ensure that it is always going to be that one. So you always, sometimes it is difficult for us to choose which one is the right one. So that is where policies are going to help us, ethics are going to help us, and these are the things that are going to help us. But when you actually want this to happen, you need to ensure that you are always going to have a written process there, so that that's going to help us there. And when you start using that, whenever you are going to take a decision based on the context, then you will not be having a difference between the practice and the policy. Because when the decisions are going to be taken based on the context, then you will not be missing that. So you are always going to say that how we achieve what we want to achieve. Because the difference between policy and practice is, policy is going to tell you what you want to achieve. Practice is going to tell you how to achieve. Sometimes how to achieve may be different, but ultimately what we are interested is what you want to achieve. That is what is the thing what we talk about as a compliance. Then implementation, when we go for implementation, it's a normal way. It's a normal process that we have as per any other management system that we have. You are going to have the phases that are there and keep improving on a continual basis. Always you are going to look for a quick wins than a long-term one. That's why we have this 3 tiers. The strategic plan is going to be divided into annual plans, which is what is going to be pushed down to the management, and management again push it down to the lower level. So you have that, you are going to ensure that it is always going to be, you are going to have certain wins so that you can visibly see that we are going in the right direction. And challenges that you are going to have, you need to common challenges, we need to anticipate that. That's why we have a risk management. We need to anticipate that, and then we see that how we should be in a position to identify that before it comes, or the moment it is going to emerge. And then you should be prepared for that by having the measures that are established, which is what is going to be part of our risk management. Then you have this, to achieve that, these are the things that are there. You are going to maintain the inventory. of AI, what are the things, what are the tools that are there as part of that, what sort of data that is going to use, then how we are going to assess the risk, which has to happen on a periodical basis, as we do for any other management system. Then you are going to have a policy, then the governance structure that is there. You are going to define certain roles, and then the roles are going to play the thing there, and then how we are going to monitor and auditing. So monitoring and auditing is always going to ensure that we are going in the right path. So this is the approach is going to be similar what we talk about. So you always look for this one, quick wins versus long-term maturity, which is what is there. You need to define short-term targets, which are going to be derived from the long-term target. That is how you should be in a position to win a long term. Without having a quick wins, you will never, or you will not be in a position to do that one. You're going to break it down and then ensure that continuously you are meeting that one. In that way, long-term maturity or long-term maturity roadmap is going to be successful. Otherwise, you will be missing that one. So at every level, you are going to say, are we meeting that one? So that is what is given here in the previous slide. Now we see that what are the challenges that you have. A lot of challenges we will be having as part of this one. Many of the things are going to be the awareness. People may not be aware that what is the impact and how to overcome. That is what is given here. There are a lot of challenges which are very common as part of this AI. So it can be a ownership is one person, and because of that collaboration is not there. So if that person goes, we'll be into problems. So these you need to identify these common challenges, and then we see that how we can overcome by anticipating that, and you have a contingency or mitigation for each of that. That's the way that you are going to take it to the next level. So now, what is that you want to have? What you have done, the lessons learned, the business outcome. That is what we are talking about, because this is how you should be in a position to see that in a way, when you want to see that whether we are actually winning or not. That is what you want to achieve. And at the end, you are going to say, what are the lessons that we have learned from that one? This is going to be a qualitative one, but what we want here is a quantitative one also. Are we meeting the outcome? Are we meeting the expectations that are there? If you are in a position to get these things covered, measures, using the measures, then we will be in a position to say that we are meeting that one. So that is a always thing. Whenever you are going to set some thing, you are always going to have some measures set as a target, and you should be in a position to do that one. So governance is always enabler. It is not a blocker, because just because we say that most of the time we say that governance is not a blocker. That is what we need to establish here. So we should always be from the governance side, we should always be helping the management and the operation to get the things done, because if they win, it is our win. If they win, the organization wins. So governance should not be as a blocker. And this is a strategic framework. It is a framework. It is not, though we say it is a standard, it is a framework, which means it is flexible. Depending on your business processes changes, you should be in a position to reprocess the way that 42001 implemented also. So it is not going to fix you in a particular situation. It is a framework, and it is flexible, and it is always going to be reflecting how business wants that. So that's a way that it is going to make us our job easier, because it is not that it is going to bring down our business processes. It is not that we are going to change our business processes because of ISO 42001 requirement. It is the other way. So always you think in that way. So main thing we are going to talk for that as a governance team level, what we want to have. First thing is you pilot it. We need to know what are the things that are to be part of our governance model. Define that, pilot it in one or two projects, or one or two locations, or one or two areas where you want functions or department that you want. Then if you see the result, tangible result in that one, then you can emulate the same thing in other places, ready for that adoption in other places. Slowly, you should be in a position to build. Always that is the right way to do that one pilot, and then get the benefits seen visibly, and then you can move to the next one. That's a way that you should go for getting this one. So that is what I have for today. Do you have questions? Now we can have questions. We have time for that.
Yes, sir. Can you go back to one slide back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. It was an insightful session. I am sure everyone will agree that today's discussion or session has given us a practical insight or understanding why AI governance matters and how organizations can begin approaching it in a structured way. So I encourage the participants to ask their questions in the Q&A box. If they want to unmute themselves and ask the question, you can raise your hand. I will unmute you. Then you can ask the question. Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Ravi is
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just give me a second. I will unmute you. Ravi, I'm unmuting you. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Chandar. Thanks for
Yeah.
this session. So one
Thank you.
question is, as of now, I do not have any background on this governance and all, but I'm
Mm.
very keen to pick this up as as every organization is implementing the AI governance. So I've seen one of the slide where you said AI. I mean, along with 42001, there are some other governance practices like 27001, 27701 and all. So
Yeah.
for me, can I start directly from 42001 or should I also, you know, learn about the other, areas of this governance?
Okay. Okay. Let me summarize my response to your questions. First thing is, ISO has this framework as part of every standard. Because when you talk about 9001 or 27001 or 27701 or even 42001, when you are implementing it, the implementation is going to be done based on these three tests. You will definitely will be having the governance part of it, management part of it, and also the third operation part of it. So the way that implementation of each of the standard is going to be, that will be done based on that requirement. So there is no question that you need to go for it redoing that. You don't have to redo. When you are going to implement for the first time any of this standard, by default, they are going to fall into these three tiers, right? So which means governance role is going to be there for every management system that is there. So when you are implementing 27001, then also the same thing is going to be applied. That is specific to 27001. And when you are doing for 42001, that is specific to AI management. Do I answer your question?
Yes, Chandra. So I can directly start with
Yes.
42001 if I am
Yeah.
focused
Yeah.
on AI governance. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Ramesh Kumar is there. You can unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir. The
Good evening.
session was very insightful. Continuing with the previous question,
Mhm.
how this ISO 42001 complementing NIST RMF and the EUA Act? So whether it's all when we do this ISO 42001, it will be same as these two other standards you mentioned, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, correct. So I just you said that you use the word complementing. It is not complementing. Both are doing the same thing. So with
Okay.
that one, because whether you want to go for NIST or you want to go for 27001, they are going to do the same thing. But when we talk about AI management system, and you are going to implement this one, even ISO as any standard, you talk about ISO standard, they do not tell you to use, or they are not going to mandate you how you are going to implement. If you want to use NIST framework for implementing that, and as long as you are in a position to establish that it is meeting the expectation that is given in the standard 42001, that is more than enough. So it is only thing at the time of audit, you should be in a position to ensure, or you should be in a position to justify how the requirements of 42001 are addressed the way that it is implemented in your organization. You can have different ways of implementing, because ISO does not mandate how the things are given, because it is only a requirement. Because when audit is done, to ensure that your business processes are meeting the requirements that are given in ISO 42001 standard. So implementation can vary depending on the interest of the individual organization, and it is possible that parallel standards can go together.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is
Thank you.
applicable to
Yeah.
EUA Act also, correct, sir?
Sorry.
EUA Act,
Yeah,
European
it is.
AI.
Yeah. This also follows that. Yeah, there may be a delta, little bit, maybe less than 5 to 10%. That is all you will be having. Like a GDPR, between GDPR and ISO 27701, it's almost like 95%. It is same, but there are going to be some delta which is specific to that particular act which you need to fill in. But otherwise, the basic things that are going to be there, it is going to be same, though they are going to be different. standards that are there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You are muted, Shraddha.
Yeah. Prahas, you can unmute yourself. I have allowed the mic.
Sir, how the implementation process is done? What is the process of implementation?
Okay, the process of implementation is first, you should be either developing a AI application or you should be as part of your organization, you should be using any application where AI is being used. It is not necessary that you may use AI as part of that, not necessary that you will be using only where applications are using AI. You may be using AI as part of your business process anyway. So if that is the case, it can be implemented. You can do that one. That is possible. So it can be done. The way that you want to implement it, so we need to understand what are the areas where AI is going to be implemented. And in every implementation, you are going to see that whether it is meeting the requirement that are narrated as part of the standard.
Okay. We got the next question. If the government policy not align AI framework, how the backend integration to scale and the product native language models must have sick leave into bubble. What compliance of efficiency will solve the anatomy of AI nativity?
This is specific to the way data is interpreted there, because I'm not going into detail that one unless I know more detail on that. I'll not be in a position to help that one. But when you are seeing in a generic way, governance is not going to say that you are allowed to do anything, because it is the one which is going to define the policy. That is what we have seen. The definition, the establishing of the policy and the procedure is going to be the accountability of the top management. So if that is the case, any policy that is going to be there, which is going to be defined by them as a process, and that process is what is going to be built in as part of your AI logic. So which means you are as a developer or a programmer or as a project manager, I'm going to implement what just my governance process says. So I'm going to implement it. It is not that I'm going to take a decision. I cannot take a decision. I'm only a implementer as part of, even if I'm going to say that I'm running a project manager role, I'm going to implement what is given as a process. The process is dictated. The process is established only by the top management. So your specific question, that question has to be posed to your management, and management should be in a position to have a justification for that one, because I cannot say that one. But the way that which is narrated, you are going to establish as part of your application, and it should sync. That is what we are going to establish.
Okay. I hope Varun you got the answer. You can give the reaction. Now next is Kumar Sham is asking, how about the adoption of ISO 42001? Is it widely adopted across organization already, or is it emerging only?
It is. It is now. That's what I say for the last some 3 years back, 10 years. That 27,001 was something which was a huge one, which was very popular. In fact, if you see of all ISO standard, and the family of ISO standard, if you see that one, only this 27,000 family is a huge one. And it has a lot of standards which are certifiable one. And 42,001 is a new thing which is there for the last 2-3 years, and it is getting very popular because it is a trend that is happening like how we had seen 15 years back when every organization went for IT. In the same way, now we see that every organization, right from oil and gas to educational institutions, all are using AI for their decision making applications. In that case, AI is going to be essential for them. When AI is going to be essential for them, the only standard that is there available across the globe is 42001. And that is a way that it is getting very, very popular now. But there are some issues when you are talking about how it can be implemented. Those are all the way that you are going to implement. They're all going to be something which is going to be specific to that organization. Overall, what is expected as part of governance is what is expected, and 42,000 is very, very popular across the globe now.
Okay. I hope Sham you got the answer. Next is Priya is asking, does ISACA offer an ISO or IEC 42001 certification?
No, ISACA does not come out with ISO. ISO is a different one. ISACA does not do anything with ISO. In fact, some of the ISO ISO methodology, they follow, some of the ISACA methodology, they follow ISO. These two are two different things. And the courses that are accredited by ISACA is specific for ISACA, and ISO is a standard. ISO is entirely a different thing, which is huge when you are comparing to ISACA. ISACA is only one portion of one, it takes care of only few areas of that, whereas ISACA, if you see that there are over 24,000 standards which are published and used across the globe now. So that's a huge one. They do three different services. They not only publish the standard, they audit, and they also train the employees to get knowledge in that one. So they are doing three different services. ISACA is a huge umbrella across the globe.
Okay. Next is Jansi. I have unmuted you. You
Sorry, I
can
corrected.
unmute yourself.
ISO is a huge one because I
Yeah.
corrected. Not ISACA. ISO is the one which has 24,000 standards implemented. Yeah, I corrected. Yeah, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the session. I basically I have two questions.
Yeah.
Say, for example, I am into an organization which is not getting into AI governance or thinking about getting certified in ISO 42K.
Okay.
In that case, if I want to move into AI governance, say I have a lead implementer or lead auditor certificate for 42K. So how do I prove my hands-on or experience in AI governance?
Okay, first of all, getting certified and getting implemented, these two are two different things. When an organization decides that they want to have a management system implemented, that is a different decision. Whether you want to be, certified or not, that comes as a secondary one. I can have an organization which can be having 42,000 implemented, still they may not go for certification also. They just want to have that one, and internally they are going to do that one. So now getting certified is the extra thing that they are going to do, so that they make that known to everyone. And because that's when the certification is there, that's going to help them for moving their business also. That's why that is going to be there. So what is more important here is, are we having a way to manage our AI systems internally? That is what is the main thing. For that only, ISO 42001 is there. Now, when you say that is it possible, yes, it is possible for implementing 42001, even if your organization is not interested to go for getting certified. But the objective for that one in your organization is, how are you going to ensure that the AI, the decisions that are going to be taken by AI are going to be following the ethics of the organization. If that is the concern, then you can still go for implementing 42001 without going for a certification using the internal auditors. But you still have to audit because you are going to ensure that internally it is meeting our requirement, compliance, internal compliance. But I've seen very few companies go for that one, because when you are successful in implementing, then you want that to be branded, so you naturally will go for certification.
Got it, sir. My second question is, when they look for AI governance roles, generally in the industry, they are asking for AI GP certification or this lead implementer, 42K lead implementer certification. So, which one do you think is more ideal to do for as a candidate who is looking for a role in AI governance?
See, if you are implementing, if you want to be as part of the implementation of AI in any organization at any tier, you can be part of the strategic layer or middle layer or the operational layer. This ISO 42001 is the one which is much better than anything. This is my personal opinion. Others can vary also. But my personal opinion is, being a pioneer, this has got a lot of things that are there. And one thing, and another thing is, when it is going to be used by a huge organization, over a period of time, when it is going to come out with the next version of 42001, definitely it will be having all the best practices adopted into that one. So by adopting 42001, I should be in a position to adopt world best practices that are there. So I would suggest, as a person who is advocating always ISO, I would suggest that yes, ISO is the better one.
Okay, so one last question. I'm actually looking to transition into AI governance role. Say I have only a certificate which says I know what is AI governance, but I don't have any hands-on experience as such. But companies do look for hands-on experience in candidates. So how do I prove myself? Like, what sort of things can be done from my end to get into such roles?
Okay, you need to look for those activities that are related to those roles. And if you are in a position to justify that, then I think you should be in a position to do. But If you are working in an organization where AI is there, AI governance team is there, and if you are going to be part of that, then the roles are going to be natural there, and you should be in a position to justify that one. If it is not, then you need to justify that you are doing the similar role without having a governance team available. But if we say that it is there, if it is not, governance team is not there, that's not the right way of implementation.
Yeah, got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Next, Sangram, I have allowed the mic. You can unmute yourself.
Hello, Chandar sir. This was good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
explanation and 1 hour of. I just wanted to understand. It is on the similar lines the earlier candidate or the earlier person asked the question. So it is about like I am kind of in the management role, not exactly like auditor or kind of actually hands-on supposed to be do. So what should be the like? I just wanted to understand like how you are looking at it. Is in if I'm let's say around 20 years of experience, but I was just trying to get into this. So what should be the best out of this for me, or like for a kind of a middle management person?
Yeah, see, implementation is common everywhere. You cannot say that it is specific to one layer or something. If you are going to be part of the implementer, and then that itself is going to help you to place yourself in any of the tiers what you want.
Okay, so this is more of a management kind of. I just get an idea about what is ISO 42001.
Yes, you are going to
I
look for
can.
that one, and then you are going to focus those activities that are specific to that one. That's the way that you will have to check.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, next is how does the ISO standards help handling the complexities of third-party vendors and external AI model providers? Jagannath is
Exactly.
asking the question.
Yeah, exactly. That is already added as part of that. Whenever it is going to be outsourcing, that is there part of that. When suppliers are going to be there, how to handle that? Because once the control goes out of your organization, you are always going to be at large. You will not be in a position to know whether things are in control or not. In that case, what level of control we can have? For that, what are the things that we need to do? Those are going to be there. That's also part of that. So we need to, that is there as part of that. There is one section which talks about what you do when you want to have that as part, when the activities are going to be outsourced, how you should be in a position to control them in an effective way. These are there as part of the standard. It is there addressed.
Varun is asking ISO 42001 average salary in industry, AI framework or new entry?
I don't know. I cannot answer that one. So one of the thing is technically, if you see that one, 42001 implementation, what we talk about, unless you have knowledge on AI, you will not be in a position to know what is going to be implemented. See, so you may not be a developer. I say I don't expect a developer to be a AIMS implementer, but if you know development, if you know some logic on that one, if you have worked at least in one of the AI application, then you should be in a position to appreciate why the standard is talking about certain things. So that is what I can say. But salary wise, I'm not in a position to help you out here. I'm not in a position to say anything.
Yes. Now with time constraint, I'm taking the last two questions. Arvind, I have unmuted you. You can
Yeah,
unmute
thank you so
again.
much. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for the wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you.
Just one quick question. How much knowledge of software systems or software terminologies do the auditors need to know? Because what I understand is as an auditor, we need to go through the code,
Correct.
need to understand what has been done, and can you just throw some light on that?
Okay. As an auditor, yeah, there's a different angle because as you say, there is always going to be three different angles for every standard. One is an implementer, auditor, and the one who is facing the auditee. We are talking about auditor. Yeah, auditor having a technical knowledge is always going to be helping you because you should be in a position to appreciate why a particular process is defined or why a particular control is designed in a way. But it is not that if you are not a developer, you will not be in a position to do that one, but you need to show interest on that and see that how the AI works. So if you know that how AI implementation is there, because it is not a normal application, what we are talking about, we are going to see those things part of, because you have an application, which is a huge one, like you have a ERP. ERP is a huge one. In ERP, there are pieces of coding that will be there where AI is going to be used in every module, if you see. And in every pieces of code that you have which is specific to AI, what data it is going to be using there and what are the processes. So you should know what is the process, where what type of data is being used by AI, then you should be in a position to see that how the data is handled, because it is all we see that how the data is handling that. So it is all because whether the commitment that you have already, the compliance part that we have. So when you are making the system to make a decision on its own, is it doing, will it be doing the way that manually when we are going to do, we do? That is what is there. For that, you should be knowing the process and the data. So if you analyze the data and the process, that is enough. You don't have to go technically as such. So it is a domain knowledge that is going to add you. That is what is going to help you.
Okay. Next,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. Sunil, you can ask the question. That will be the last question.
Thanks, Radha. Thanks, Chandar sir. It was
Yeah,
really
thank
good
you.
session. And
Yeah.
my question would be, which all tools or maybe the product that we need to master as an AI governance professional, like Jira one, right? We use it in our project
Okay,
management,
now,
but yeah.
yeah, I got your point. Now, ISO does not mandate you. That's what I said. I mentioned earlier also. ISO does not mandate any tool or any framework. It says as long as you are in a position to justify that what is required as part of the standard is being addressed. That is what we are looking for. So if we say that Jira is one of the tools that is there, Jira, you are going to justify how you are using Jira to meet the requirement that is given as part of the standard. So unless that is the thing that we are looking for is, are you in a position to justify that the Jira, the way that Jira is implemented in your organization is helping to say that your requirement that are there in the 42,001 is met. So as long as you are in a position to justify, that is fine. It is irrelevant that what tool that you are going to use.
No, but I've checked like in market there is Credo.ai or
No, they
OneTrust.
come with
So
that
these
one.
kind
No,
of
say always say because say there are like when you talk about there are applications, we say that they are already privacy compliance. So that is the way that they sell, because most of the things that you are expecting as when you want to build a application which should be meeting the privacy data related one. So they say that this my application will be meeting the requirement like this. When Jira is going to be given to you, they say that what is the generic requirement that are there as part of the 42,001 will be part of that. But again, you are going to say that whether it is meeting or are you in a position to justify that. So tools or to some level, they will be giving an option so that it will be meeting the generic requirement that is given as part of the standard. I don't deny that Jira cannot be used, but I'm saying that that is good for every application. Even if you have in-house application, you can ensure that it can be meeting the requirements what is there in ISO 42001.
Okay, but there is no standard tool or a product.
No, there is
That's
no
what you're
standard.
saying.
No,
Okay.
there is no standard. Even in Jira,
I
some
thought
of the things it will vary the
no,
way
no.
that you are
Jira was just
implementing.
an example for project management.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yes.
but what I see the OneTrust or Credo.ai. So anyway, and the IBM
That
Watson
is also a
expert
methodology. That's
governance.
what I'm saying. They are going to be used in a particular situation, but it is not that in every situation that can be a solution. So it depends on which situation you are going to use. You may be
Okay.
using multiple methodologies for multiple requirements.
Yeah. But anyway, they were claiming they are the AI governance tools, but I thought probably that is
No,
something that we can
no.
understand.
They using the tool, they are governing the AI. That's how you'll have to mean it.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes. So thank you, sir, for answering
Thank you.
all of these questions. And as I mentioned earlier, before we conclude, I would like to come back to the special opportunity which I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. Sir, can you share the second last slide?
Yeah, one more.
Yeah. And for further questions, I have also posted the contact details for Knowlathon. You can reach out to us. You can reach out with all the queries, and we will give them to Chandar sir, give them to Chandar sir, and he will answer them for you. So now, with the opportunity, I'm sharing the form in the form link in the Q&A box as well as on the screen. The scanner is there. You can scan this QR code on your screen and find the link in the Q&A box. So the what is the offer? What is the opportunity? Is the first 5 participants who submit who submit the for complete form, which you get after the scanning this QR code, will receive a complimentary 30-minute one-on-one session or one-on-one consultation with one of our industry experts. So it's not a sales call, actually, it's a focused discussion designed around your specific query. So what you have to do is next in the form you will find a question where you can share the one question or a challenge or what you're currently facing related to AI governance or ISO 42001, or what you want to discuss with an industry expert. It could be anything from understanding the certification path or planning and implementation, managing AI risk, building an AI governance framework, or simply figuring out where to begin and everything. So the more specific query you put in the form, it will help us understand your requirement better, and we can be able to connect you with the most appropriate expert for your one-on-one session. It's for first 5 registrants, so scan fast and put out your queries. Please be in detail, please put your queries in detail so we can understand you better. And even if you're not among the first 5, I will still encourage you to submit your query because every response is going to be reviewed by our team, and wherever possible we'll share the relevant guidance resources, or we'll connect with you personally, or we'll connect with you a right person who can help. Your queries also helps us understand the real challenges organizations are facing, or enabling us to create more relevant webinars or resources and learning experiences in the future. So before you leave today's session, please take just 2 minutes to complete the form. The QR code is on the screen and the link has also been shared in the Q&A box. Once again, heartfelt thank you to Chandra sir for sharing such valuable insights with us today and answering all the questions
Thank
of
you.
our participants. And thank you to each one of you who are for joining us and making today's session engaging and interactive. Thank you for all the questions. We hope you found today's discussion valuable, and we look forward to welcoming you again on the another Knowlathon webinar. I'll stay for 2 more minutes to you can scan the QR code and then you can reach out, you can put out your queries. I'll be waiting for them. After that, we can close the session. Till then, others can give me the reaction if they enjoyed the session or not. You can give the thumbs ups. Okay, great. I hope you got the link, or you can reach out to us also, and on all our social channels as well as contact numbers given in the Q&A box. Scan the QR code, fill the query, and be ready for the free consultation, a one-on-one consultation. So now, until then, take care, keep learning, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone.